Bundys Garage, Bundy here. Today we were doing the spark plugs on a 2013 Lexus IS250. It was a 2.5 liter V6. First thing you do is remove this cover. All it does is a couple clips in here. Just pull it up and out. No screws. You can see right here, there's little brackets it goes into that coincide with like this and here, but just place this off to the side. Okay, I'm going to give you a flyover real quick of what we got to do. Okay, so here's the upper intake manifold that has to come off. You're going to have to take off our throttle body. There's 4 10mm bolts that hold that on. You're going to have to take off the snorkel to get access to the throttle body. You have a line here that needs to come off. Looks like I'll have to take this plastic cover off. Then you have these 10mm bolts down here that hold the plenum on. Here, you have one here. Then you have Allen screws. I'll tell you what kind of Allen screw that is. But they are on both sides. There are some down here. And when we get there, I'll tell you exactly how to do that. Then we have these fuel lines over here. Right here, there's a fuel line and a couple bolts that we need to take off to get the plenum to come up and out. It's a good idea to change out the plenum gasket when you do this. Okay, got the plenum gasket here. There's 3 individual little O-rings. Then got the Toyota spark plugs. Let's see, is there a part number on here? Iridiums FK20HBR11. That looks like it'll be it. So it's also a good idea before you install the spark plugs, go ahead and open it up and inspect the porcelain between the metal right here where my finger's at and the white part, the porcelain. I've seen where it's cracked there, and you install the new spark plug and you have a misfire, and you're chasing that misfire for like 2 days because you're thinking the spark plugs are good. So whether you're buying from Toyota or AutoZone, always check your spark plugs for cracks in the porcelain before you leave the store. Little screw down there. You need to take the cover off. Okay, yeah. So let me get a screwdriver real quick. Okay, so right down here there's a little plastic screw. You need to loosen up. Okay. So I'll show you that little plastic screw. It's right there. That little plastic screw you need to unscrew. And you have some body clips that we'll be putting back as well. Next we'll do is take this snorkel off. You have this little squeeze thing right here. Go ahead and pull that out of the way. A little bit of oil right there. These should be 10mm. 10mm here. And right up here might be 8. Let me grab a 10mm. You don't need to disconnect any of this stuff. I'm just going to take this snorkel out real quick. They are 10mm. So it's got a 10mm screwdriver real quick. Loosen that up. Loosen this one up. Okay, there's one end. Then there's something holding it. Oh, there's a little clip. There's a little hose down there. So right here on the bottom, right down the bottom, there's a hose running through here. You gotta disengage the hose, get it out, and you can pull it up and out. Okay, next thing I'm gonna do, so here's your passenger side spark plugs, or coil packs, your spark plugs. Looks like 10mm here. Yeah, 3 10mm bolts hold these coils in. So you just take the coils off, pull out your spark plugs, put everything back together. I want to get some compressed air. I'm going to use my air compressor, blow out all these ridges down here. Because when you pull the spark plug, when you pull the coil pack and then you pull the spark plug, it's a straight shot down into your cylinder. You don't want any debris or dirt getting down in there. So I'm going to go ahead and blow the top of this engine off just so I have, a nice clean area to work with. I don't want any debris or dirt going down into the cylinder. Got my air gun. Okay, I blew it all out. I know some of you guys are going to notice the throttle body's open. I'm probably going to get some nasty comments down there. Oh, you're throwing dirt into the throttle body. Well, I'll clean that out on this side and on the back side as well before I put everything together. So don't you worry your pretty little heart about that one. Let's pull these 4 10mm bolts out for the throttle body, giving us disconnect it from the intake. You have 4 10mm bolts that hold this throttle body on. So go ahead, get down here, righty tighty, lefty loosey. I was trying with a 1/4 inch ratchet and socket, but that wasn't working. Stepped up to a 3/8. Break these 10mm bolts loose. Okay, just go around slowly, take all these off. Okay, bought this new 3/8 electric ratchet off Amazon by Chemo. Gonna try it out on this car. 1, 2, 3. They're all the same length. Okay, got that loose. All right, cool, awesome, cool. Okay, so we got the throttle body loose. Next thing we're coming down here. This looks like a 12mm, 12 or 14. We're gonna take this is part of the evap system. We have a hose going in here. We'll take that out. We'll take this bolt out. I should put this bolt back in to the intake so I don't lose it, and then get this out of the way. I'm not gonna disconnect this. I'm not gonna disconnect the wiring harness for the throttle body at all. This is a fly-by-wire system. And then I'll come over here, open up this fuel line. There's 2 crush washers on the fuel line, so whatever you do, don't lose those. Typically you can reuse them. If you want, go ahead and replace them. I would buy them from Toyota if you're going to replace them. And then we'll go get these nuts off and these Allen screws, and the intake should be ready to come out, and we will get access to the driver's side spark plugs. So not that hard. Not that hard so far. Yep, 12mm. Got my Chemo. Pull that free and clear. I guess we'll have to take this off. Just squeezing the wiring harness, laying it out over to the side. Okay, put this back so I know where it goes. This connection right here was super easy. Just pulled the hose right out. There was no clamps. This is a wiring harness for the throttle body. It connects, has 2 connections down here, part of the plenum. I'm going to pop those loose from beneath. Just squeeze them together, get them loose and free and clear so I can get the intake off. Have to get this hose free. That's pretty simple. Coolant hose going to the throttle body. Okay, so to help me get these clips out, I have some pliers that are at a 90-degree angle. I'll put a link in the description below to some pliers like this on Amazon. Crescent sells these. I actually bought these from Sears before they closed down, but just coming down in here, you have 2 little clips that you have to squeeze together to get it up and out. So let me see if I can squeeze them. Okay. Yep, see? So right there. You have these 2 little clips that need to be squeezed together at the same time. So just came down here, squeezed them together, got them loose. Try to do the same thing over here. Just taking this hose out, give me a little bit more room. Oh yeah, okay, cool. Got that one free too. Can you guys see that? Okay, so I had the other one right here. Had to squeeze those. There's a little hose right here. Had to take off to get in there. But just freeing this wiring harness up. Now we'll go over to the fuel line. Okay, coming back over to the driver's side of the motor. You have a fuel line right here that needs to come off to get the plenum free. And then down here, let's see, I need to get a flashlight for you guys. But there are, I think there's one 12mm bolt down there, but let me grab a flashlight. Right underneath the banjo bolt for the fuel line, there is a electrical connector. So I'm going to pop that off. Pop the fuel line off. And then there's a hose down there. It looks like it's, you guys see it? I know it's hard to see down here, but it'll make more sense when I pull it off. It looks like it's part of the intake Probably part of the PCV valve system. PCV valve system. That needs to come off, or doesn't need to come off. It'll come off when I get the plenum up and out. And then we'll go from there. I thought there was another bolt down here, but I'm not seeing it. So, but like I said, when you guys take off the fuel line, be careful. There's 2 crush washers between there, sandwiched in there, so don't lose them. Do not lose them. And we'll take off that hose as well right there. So you're gonna get some fuel coming out of there, so get a rag. So I'm gonna catch it. It's a hot day here in Southern California, so this fuel system is under pressure. Okay, so here's what I was talking about. This is the banjo bolt. Has a hole through it for fuel. And on this side you have a little washer. On the other side you have another little washer too. Do not install the banjo bolt without the washers, or you're going to have a fuel leak. You're going to have a fire and you're going to burn to death. Okay, that's my warning to you. Do not install the banjo bolt without these washers. You have to have these on there. Got that off. That's part of the brake vacuum. That's part of the vacuum braking system. It goes to the brake booster. It gets vacuum for the brake booster so that you have brakes. Getting the electrical connector off of that right below the fuel connector. There was a little electrical connector I got off. Just squeeze it together and pull it off. Basically, what you're trying to do is get all the hoses, wiring harness, any extra stuff off the plenum, the upper intake manifold, so that you can just pull it up and out and get access to the driver's side coil packs and spark plugs. That's all you're trying to do here. I know it might look a little intimidating when you open this cover up, but it's not. It's not that hard at all, guys. Just take your time, be careful, be meticulous. Okay, so starting to work on the upper intake manifold. You have two 10mm bolts here. The rest are these tiny little Allens, and the Allen size is 5mm. I have this long hex key set that I got from O'Reilly Auto Parts. I'll put a link in the description below. All the tools that I use in this video, I'll put a link in the description below. A lot of people are watching my channel, but they're not subscribed. I can tell by the analytics. So if you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out. If you found this video helpful, saved you some money, or gave you a tip you didn't know about, just hit that subscribe button, and helps me and my family out. I got it broken loose. I was about to say I might have to get a 5mm Allen socket to get this out. There it is. Tiny little 5mm hex. I guess these are too long. These Allen keys are too long. Okay. Got that one loose. Get this 10mm right here. Don't drop those. I will start having to use a 5mm on a 3/8 socket. There's on some of these Allen bolts, they're just too recessed to get the key in there, the hex key. So next one I'll be doing is right back here. There's one over here. Okay, looking at it again on top, there's one right there, it's on the very center. I'm just trying to see, there might be one right down there. Yes, there is one down there, way down there. I don't know if my socket will reach that. Nope. So I have to use the it won't reach down there, so I need to use the Allen key. Oh no. This little piece broke down there. Oh man. I was down there trying to get that 5mm bolt loose, and my hex key snapped off. See right there? Should look like these. Just the weak point in the design snapped right off. You see a little part right there. So I'm going to take this back to O'Reilly Auto Parts, get it warranted, but it wasn't stuck in there or anything. It just slides in nice and easy, so I was just able to get it out with a magnet, little magnetic pickup tool. Had to go buy a T-handled hex key set that's on its way from O'Reilly's right now, and then I'll get back to it and pull those last two bolts out. Got a T-handled Allen key, 5mm. Make sure you guys have good tools when you use this. These Allen bolts are recessed, which make it difficult to get down there, and you cannot get a 3/8 socket down there with the Allen key. There's not enough room. So just make sure you get a good make sure you get a good tool set before doing this. Okay, find the last one, which is right here. I'm trying to line it up correctly so I can turn it. Make sure it's all the way in. Oh man. Why does Lexus use these silly hex bolts? They can just use 10mm. Make it a lot easier. Make it a lot easier. If any engineers from Toyota are listening, use 10mm, dude. I'm going to get the last one. Hopefully that's the last one. So once I get this out, the intake should come up nice and easily. If it doesn't, if you feel any kind of resistance, there's something, there's a bolt left or a screw left that you forgot. This should come up. This should come up very, very easily. Now, since the bolt is recessed down there so far, you might need to get a small magnetic pickup tool. I'll put some links in the description below where you guys can pick that up on Amazon if you need to. Or you can go to O'Reilly's or AutoZone. There it is. Man, what a hassle. What a hassle. And two, right back here, hopefully you guys can see it. Right, oh, where is it? Can I see it? Trying to get light and everything down here. So it's right below where my finger's at. You guys see that? That's either 10 or 12. So I'll try to get a wrench back there and break it free. It is a 12mm back there. Getting out my long 12mm, 14mm ratcheting adjustable wrench. This wrench is awesome. Link down below. Okay, right down here, so driver's side still. There is a bolt underneath this wiring harness that you need to remove. So I disconnected it here, and then the bolt sits right down there, right below the wiring harness. So looks like a 12mm again. So I'll disconnect that. Let's see if I can get the intake up and out. Had to get the bolt out of the back, which is a long mother sucker, and I'll get this one as well. Got that one out. All right, got that last bolt out. Intake manifold is ready to come out. So, like I said, this should come off nice and easily. You shouldn't have to force it. It should come out easy, easy. Lemon and squeezy. Like I said, everything should come out nice and easy, but I forgot a bolt, which is right there. Right where my finger's at, right there. It's on the side of the throttle body. Looks like a 10mm. Pop that sucker out. Okay, got that one out. Just a tiny little guy. Then I have a hose back here, part of the PVC system. So right in the back, I had the PCV valve hose that's stuck on, and then there's a wiring harness that's stuck to the very, very back of the plenum, and you can't see that. I mean, I guess if I look back there, I could see it, but you can't see that until the plenum comes off. So it squeezes the other way. we go. Alright. Okay, so just had to squeeze it the right way. Here's a hose I was talking about. It's held in by finger tight clips right there. Then you have these O-rings. So it's always a good idea to replace these when you do the spark plugs. Alright? They do collapse and they wear out over time. So while you're in there, might as well clean them up. Get new ones on there. I got the new gaskets from Felpro. And I'll put links in the description below where you guys can get those. Okay, it's always a good idea. Those holes in the intake go right down in the cylinder. So I'm going to put some paper towels down in there, keep any debris from going down. And then I'm going to spray the top of the valve cover off again. So that when I take the spark plugs and the coils out, or the coils and the spark plugs out, nothing goes down in there. Clean this all up. Doesn't look bad at all. It's getting any residual oil or any contaminants off. Stay in there, little paper towel. Okay, looks like we're good. Now I'll take some air. Air this side off. Okay, and this is the easiest part of the whole thing. So you have coil packs here. I'm not going to show you both sides. It's very easy. If I show you how to do one, you can do the other. Take the plug wires off the coil packs. Take the 10mm bolts out. And then pull the coil packs up and out. I've got this one off already. So you just squeeze down. Kind of wiggle jiggle it at the same time. Okay, there you go. I took the bolt out. Wiggle the coil pack back and forth a little bit. Break that seal. At the same time I'm pulling up. There you go. So, make sure that goes back onto the coil pack. I'll put some dielectric grease in here. Just go around and do that all for all of them. Okay. Okay, just trying to get that last coil pack off. Or get the connector free and clear. Man, they don't make it easy, dude. Toyota loves to shove this stuff in here, man. No room for nothing. They make amazing cars, but when it comes to putting mechanics first when they design this stuff, that's an afterthought. Got a little screwdriver to try to push up the clip one. We'll try to push up the connector itself on pushing on the clip. Okay, got it. Okay, take this last coil out and then I'll start pulling out the spark plugs. I'm not going to show you the other side because the other side is exactly the same. Well, not exactly the same, but once you get this side, you can figure out how to do the other side. I'm just going to coat on the gap for the spark plugs. It should be already measured in there since the spark plugs are from Toyota. I'm going to put nickel-based anti-seize on the spark plugs before I do that. Just leaving it up here in rows so I know exactly which one they go into. But like I said, 5/8 spark plug socket goes down in there. You pull each one out. I'm going to coat the new spark plugs with nickel-based anti-seize, and then put it back into place. Got an extension, 5/8 spark plug socket with a magnetic ring in there that keeps a spark plug captive. Love that design. Okay, righty tighty, lefty loosey. That one's broken free. That one's broken free. Getting the ring back onto the coil pack. Break this one free. Okay, there it is. Denso original OE spark plug. FK20HBR11. Iridium. They look really, really nice, but they look really good. Has more of that halo. That just happens over time as they get worn. Let me give you this quick tip right now while we're working here. When you put the plenum back on, make sure you leave all the bolts and screws, or bolts and nuts, I should say. Make sure you leave them loose so that you can get them all to line up. So you have the very back one right here, and just finger, start it by hand, and then start another one by hand. Start them all by hand. Don't tighten any of them down until you know you have everything in place and that they're all in the right spot, and then you can start torquing stuff down. Okay, there's the last one. Okay, so the two things I'll be using, you have dielectric silicone paste. I'm going to put it into the coil packs, and then I'm going to use a nickel-based anti-seize. This really helps with different metals, be that iridium or platinum, going into aluminum head or a steel head. Just found this stuff works awesome. You could use a copper-based one. It just makes more sense to use nickel, which is more conducive to different metals. Links in the description will be down there for both of these. Have the spark plug here, have the anti-seize. What I do, I'll start in the middle, just start coating it. You don't want to get any on the tip right here. You don't have to put tons of this stuff on, just a little bit light coating, and you're good to go. All right. So don't overdo it. Don't get it on the electrode. And you're set. Okay, next thing I like to do, I have a 6-inch 3/8 hose, just a rubber hose. I'll go ahead and guide this down into here. I hate dropping the spark plugs down in here. I see guys drop them down and they tighten them up. You could damage this tip right here, so this is why I do this. And I lead it down, right? And you can actually feel it when it grabs on the threads. Okay, it grabbed, and then I just run it down until it bottoms out, and I go to the next one. That way I know I'm not getting the tip's not getting damaged when I drop it down there. Because going this far into the car, it's not the hardest thing, but it's not the easiest thing as well. So just take your time, do it right. Next one's all loaded up. Guide that down in there. Okay, that one's in. Now let me show you. Take my 5/8 spark plug socket down, guide that in there. It's locked in. Now you don't have to put a whole bunch of torque on this. You don't have to put a whole bunch of strength when you tighten these things down, okay? Let's see. Going the right way. Okay, so there it is. I can feel it bottomed out, right? There's a new crush washer on these spark plugs, so that has to collapse. So I'm going to show you. I'm right here at what? The 9 o'clock position. You can actually feel it over time. So, not there yet. 1 o'clock. 9. Okay, it crushed. Maybe the 11. That's it. That's all you do. So let's do it to this one. Start at the 9, go to the 1, and to the 11. Can't go all the way because the firewall's in the way. Okay, 1-ish. Back at the 9. No, I'm not going to make it to noon. There, it's good. That's all you got to do. Okay, now I take my dielectric, a little bit of that. put it into the coil pack right there. Lead it down. And you're good to go. Put the bolt back on, snug it down, and you're done. So I only have 5 more remaining, but that's what you do. All right, I'm not going to bore you with showing you every single one. But that. Okay, so I got this side all done, the passenger side. Just repeated the same process for all of them, so all the spark plugs are done. One thing I just wanted to share with you is that there's a wiring harness that goes right through here. It's held in by a 10mm bolt. Had to move that, get that out of the way to get access to this 10mm nut for the coil pack, the one in the middle. Other than that, it was all easy, not hard at all. This is very important. When you guys plug in the connector back for the coil pack, you got to make sure that it clicks. You hear click, and then you got to make sure, double check it by, tugging back on the connector to make sure that's in place, because you'll go, if you don't get this correct, you'll put everything back together and fire up your engine, and you'll have a misfire. So don't let that happen. So go ahead, click it in, give it a good pull back, staying. Same here. Heard the click. Give it a pull back, nothing. Staying on. Same with this one here. Click. Pulling it back, nothing. I'm going to double check that side too. Pulling back, nothing. Pulling back, it's good. And the one that's at an awkward angle, it's right there. Just getting my fingernails down there. Pushing it, nothing. So they're all good. All right, now it's time to replace these seals. Just got to grab it, pull them out. They don't. Not too bad, but it's always a good idea to replace them. Okay, got the new ones here. Velcro. Open that sucker up. Okay, new ones in place, or I should say new ones in my hand. They can only go one way. Up and down doesn't matter, but it does have these little nubs on it, little nipples. Then you go ahead and put it down in. Just feed it down into place and then push it in. Don't drag your finger along it, just pat it down. Okay, there's one. You repeat this process for all the remaining 2. Just get them started. I already cleaned the top of the intake on the engine side, so we should be good to go. Okay, that one's in place. And then right before I put everything back together, I'll double check these, make sure that they're good. So, but just take your time, put these back in. Don't stretch them out, just put them back into place. You're good to go. Why am I having problems with that one? So let me flip that one over. See if that makes a difference. Okay, well, you guys get the point. I'm going to have to bring this up to the table. Put it in that way. Okay, now it's seating. So yeah, if you're having difficulty for a second, just flip it over. You should be good to go. Just patting it down, making sure it's in place. Double check all of them. Okay. Okay, before I go any further, sorry for the low light. We're looking at the throttle body, the back of the throttle body. It's a little dirty, so just put some brake cleaner on here. Just clean it as well as I can. I know it's hard to see, but it's best to clean it now before you put the intake back on. So, see this butterfly valve back here? No, you can't see it back here, too dark. But don't move it. There's a little motor in here, with little actuators, little plastic gears that actually controls the butterfly valve. If you move this plate, you run the risk of damaging this. So when you clean this, don't move that plate. Do not move that. All right? Just be careful. Just be cautious. Take your time. Clean it out as best as you can without moving this plate. Okay, so everything's ready to go. Clean the throttle body, the front side and the back side, or the front side and the back side, I should say. Cleaned all this off. This is all good to go. Going to pull the Paper towels out now. Do not forget those. You don't want those getting sucked through your engine. Don't forget about this connector right here. It's actually just going to be, when I bring in the intake right now, it's just going to be plugged into the back of it. You don't have to squeeze it like I did to remove it. Everything's good here. All the O-rings are in place. And don't forget the hose right here for the PCV system. Okay, so this only goes one way. Bring this down into place. Plug in this connector. Okay, that's in. Line up the studs. Okay, one thing I want to do, I want to connect that connector back there in the hose. Okay, get that out of the way. Find the other connector here. Make sure that clicks into place. Okay, bring in my hose. Okay, that's in place. Okay, come back here. Bring this in. Okay, make sure it's seating, which it is. Okay, looks good. So, like I said, I'm going to leave all these loose. I'm going to start one. I'm actually going to do the back side first. You have the two bolts that we took out. One goes in the very back, one goes right underneath here. The longer one goes right here. Okay, bring in the longer bolt. Move this wiring harness out of the way real quick. That's in place. Starting it by hand. Just want to make sure you have a few threads started, but leave them loose. Okay, got that one. Now go for the one in the back. Okay, got that one started. Do the one in the back of the throttle body. Right there. Okay, got that one started. Bring in the 6 Allens for the intake, and then the 2 little 10mm screws. To get the recessed ones, I'm just putting it onto a magnet pickup tool. It's going to guide it down that way. Bring in my T-handled Allen key, 5mm. Okay, that one's in place. Go back here, driving this nut. Okay, so got the back bolt done and then got the fuel line back in place. Do the back bolt first before you put the fuel line back into place, because the fuel line covers up the back bolt. So next thing I'm going to do, go back to the fuel system, put in the connector, put in the banjo bolt, make sure both of the washers are there. And I'll come here and tighten that one down. Okay, put the connector in first. Connector is in. Bring in the fuel line. Snug that down. 12mm wrench. Okay. I'm going to get this side bolt right here. Now I'll tighten down all the intake bolts. I'll stagger them when I do them. Okay, so my other camera got full of storage, so let me just show you guys real quick what to do. Just tightened all these down, intake bolts down. I got to tighten that one down. Next, we'll bring in the 4 bolts for the throttle body. We'll reconnect this hose to the snorkel. Double check all our connectors. And then there's not much left to do after that. The hardest part was getting those intake bolts out. What a hassle, man. Broke my first tool, then I had to go get a T-handle 5mm Torx hex from O'Reilly's. I'll put a link in the description below to that, but there you go, guys. If you've come this far and you've gotten this much done, you guys can put everything else back together. Like I said, warning, do not move that throttle plate. Do not move the butterfly valve in the throttle plate, because there are little gears inside there that can get damaged. After you get everything buttoned up, just start the vehicle, make sure you have no misfires, and you should be good to go. All right, guys, hope this helped you out. Hope it's helped you save some money. And if you can, please subscribe, and I will talk to you guys later.